All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it a moment here. We've got a very special guest on the line here. Uh, it is Sofia Smallstorm. She is a health researcher and an activist that, quite frankly, deserves a lot more attention than she's been getting lately. Um, I believe the blog is called aboutthesky.com. Sophia, are you with us? Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes, Sofia Smallstorm, Sophia with an F as in Frank. And you can also get my blog by sofiasmallstorm.com. And I have put up some recent things that I think everybody's going to be very fired up about, and that's what we're going to talk about today, right, Joe?
Yes. Now, before we go any further, Sophia, I want to confirm that you can hear her. Can I get some confirmation that the audio is coming through from Sophia on the other line? Can you comment, please? Just give it a second here. I want to get some confirmation. Uh, no. Have any of you heard Sophia speak? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. So it looks like it's game on, Sophia. Go right ahead with what you've got to share with the audience this morning.
All right, Joe, I'm going to start in a corner of this presentation and work toward the middle, all right?
Sounds good.
So, Joe, you're aware of chemotherapy drugs, are you not?
Oh, yes.
All right. So one of the most common chemotherapy drugs is called vincristine, and its brand name is Oncovin. It's given for many types of cancer: leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, breast cancer, thyroid cancer, brain tumors. So what is it? It's a plant alkaloid. That means it's taken from plants, and an alkaloid is anything that has a pharmacological effect. So it's something from a plant that has a medicinal effect on the body. Now listen, 1 gram of Oncovin is $28,000. And how do they get Oncovin? They get it from the shikimate pathway of algae. Remember the shikimate pathway, that 7-step organic chemistry process?
Of course.
The aromatic amino acids that are the basis of our neurotransmitters and enzymes. So get this, glyphosate, Monsanto's glyphosate, knocks out, kills, destroys the shikimate pathway in plants and bacteria, therefore in the food we eat. So the medicinals are gone. They've been deleted from the food we eat, but the chemical companies have these giant vats of plants, algae, and they allow them to make the medicinals, and then they take those medicinals, those alkaloids out, purify them, call it vincristine, Oncovin, and sell it back to us for $28,000 a gram when our health crashes.
After they've poisoned us by by literally loading us up with glyphosate, desiccating both the exterior of the dried foods, the crops, and literally the interior of our cells, right?
Right. So I'm going to switch over to, there's a wonderful interview on my blog. You might have to go to the 2019 section because we just started 2020 and I haven't put that much stuff on. So there's also a link for 2019. And watch this material, Zach Bush and Joe Dispenza. I was looking into our mental ability, our power of self to run our bodies and run our lives, and I came across Joe Dispenza's work. I had known about him from the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, a 2004 movie that was a little bit confusing, but people watched that movie again and again and again because it consisted of interviews with some amazing people, including neuroscientists, philosophers, spiritual people, but the best interview, apparently the consensus was that Joe Dispenza was the star of this interview, and he was the chiropractor sitting in the chair by the fireplace, and his spiel was how to create your day. The fact is, as I was telling you, Joe, a little earlier, we have amazing healing power in our bodies, and Joe Dispenza's story is very interesting. He was a chiropractor here in San Diego. This is 1986. And he was doing triathlons. He was very young. He had a horrible accident. In the triathlon, a truck hit him in the back bike section of the triathlon. I don't know how that happened. I thought they closed the road to traffic. But anyway, he had multiple spinal fractures. He was told he would never walk again. He was bound for a wheelchair his whole life. And what he did was he refused all these verdicts and decrees, and he decided that he had an intelligence in his body that ran his health, and he, as a conscious being, could communicate to that consciousness in his body how to heal and that it should heal. So he went through all kinds of different ways to meditate and connect with his consciousness within him. And 10 weeks later, he was up and walking. And a few weeks after that, he says he was riding his bike. And that proved to him that he was onto something. He had actually circumvented this terrible decree of permanent cripple, condition and surgery and everything. So what this is called in medical lingo is spontaneous remission. And Joe sold his practice, he sold his house, and he went traveling the world in search of other people who had had spontaneous remission. Spontaneous remissions could be from strokes, from cancer, from all kinds of things. And he went back to school for neuroscience, and he has pretty much now established himself as a world leader and expert in how to rewire your brain and design your own recoveries from whatever. It could be from financial problems, it could be from love relationships, it could be from health issues. And I, who am a skeptic, as I know you are, Joe, I have been delving into Joe Dispenza material for a month now, and I'm very, very amazed at what I'm discovering. A lot of it has to do with the pineal gland, Joe. I'm going to let you comment.
Well, Sophia, the pineal gland has been under attack for as long as we've been walking the face of this earth by the monsters that think it's their right to rule over us. And in our society, the pineal gland is directly under attack by microwave emissions, Wi-Fi, fluoride, bromine, halide compounds being injected into the water, into the food supply, into the pharmaceutical agents, into the pharmacological agents, into the crops, and even into the air, for crying out loud. I mean, they brominate the flour, the vegetable oil, the jacuzzi water. People are taking baths and showers, breathing chloramines and chlorines, all these halide compounds, literally cementing and, for lack of a better term, calcifying our pineal gland, disabling it. So they're definitely trying to cut us off from the ability that we've been given by Almighty God to do just what you're talking about, Sophia.
Yes, and Joe Dispenza, as many interviews as I've listened to, there's only a couple of them in which he explains what I'm going to say next. That your pineal gland is capable of firing gigantic piezoelectric voltage, which spurs what he calls supernatural healing. His latest book is Becoming Supernatural, and this doesn't have to do with ghosts and things like that. The title kind of makes you think, ooh, ghosts, haunted, whatever. But it's about bringing about change in your life that goes beyond the natural. And
now, Sophia, let me stop you real quick. Tell the audience what piezoelectric energy and compounds are. For a lot of people, they may not be aware of what these are. But I'll tell you right now, you've probably got something that has them in them, like your light-up shoes. So go ahead and tell the audience what that is.
Piezoelectric materials are crystals. They could be metals. Their molecular configuration is in a certain lattice-like arrangement. And the ground rule of the way they function is that when you put electricity or voltage on a piezo material, it will respond by generating a frequency, and when you put a frequency on a piezo material, it responds by generating a voltage. Now, you have piezoelectric materials throughout your body. You've got crystalline proteins in your DNA. You have all kinds of crystalline materials, silica in your bones. The muscles are piezoelectric. The work of Jerry Tennant tells us that every time you contract a muscle, you release a voltage by squeezing piezoelectric materials in the muscle tissues. And that voltage goes over to the nearest organ and charges up the organ. And if you are moving muscles in your, the skeletal muscles, the legs and arms, I believe that voltage charges your blood vessels to improve circulation and return blood flow. But anyway, so we are full of piezoelectric materials. They are basically the way life is conducted bioelectrically.
Okay, I want to stop you right there, Sophia. I spent 5 years in the University of California, Irvine. I have a bachelor's degree in chemistry and a bachelor's degree in biological science, ladies and gentlemen. And we were never taught anything about what she just said. I was headed to med school, folks, and there was no discussion of what Sofia Smallstorm has just mentioned. So go ahead and continue, Sophia.
Joe, it does floor me. I mean, I'm friends with a lot of researchers now, or acquaintances. I email them every day. These are people with PhDs. They're at places like MIT. They never talk about piezoelectricity, and yet that's the fundament. It was discovered by Pierre Curie in terms of giving it a name, and he left his experimentation with crystals in the late 1890s to help his wife Marie isolate radium. But piezoelectricity is how transduction works in speakers, amplifiers, in the lighter for your gas grill. When you flick a bit, what you're doing is you're putting pressure or frequency, mechanical force, on a piezo crystal, which fires a voltage, and that lights your grill or your cigarette or whatever.
Now people that study engineering and physics and the like are being trained in that. But yet people in medicine and health have no clue about it, and yet it literally runs so much of the electron source for healing, and even a lot of processes that are just ordinary actions that like walking and talking, for crying out loud. It's amazing. It's absolutely sickening how they compartmentalize the disciplines and keep us in the dark intentionally. It reminds me of how there's never any discussion of radio frequency interaction with living things. And, it's all about chemical reactions with living things and inorganic compounds reactions with living things, but never radio frequency or electrical interactions with living things in the health sciences. That's criminal. And that's why everybody's falling apart. Go ahead, Sophia.
Well, Joe, has it ever occurred to you why, when you're tired and you just want to do something, you want to wake up, you rub your face, you get up and stretch. What you're doing is your movement in your skin, in your muscles, in your bones, and you're starting voltage firing, and that fires you up. So that's all piezoelectric principle. But your pineal gland is this little gland in the back middle section of the head, and it is capable of firing enormous piezoelectric voltage to spur what Joe Dispenza calls supernatural healing. Let's just call it super healing to get away from the idea of.
And before we go into that, Sophia, tell the audience what destroys the pineal gland.
Well, just about anything. There are so many things like fluoride that I've read are encrusting and calcifying the pineal gland. There's radiation. There's a new form of something people invented that's the strength of 2 smartphones, and you put it in your ears. I think this form of earbud, and it's directed right at that pineal gland. That's where the vortex is coming in from both sides of your head. So the poor pineal gland is becoming demolished. But before we go on about that, I want to explain that in the old days, Joe, let's say you were found in the woods. You had fallen down. Let's go back 500 years, 1,000 years, and you dragged yourself back to your little village or encampment or whatever it was, and you had a severe chill, and you had some terrible sprains or just bad injuries from exposure. and people wrapped you up. They didn't have antibiotics. They didn't have much. They might put you by the fire. But after a few days, you might say to yourself on a conscious or subconscious level, I must get well. I am needed here. And you would, by yourself, will your own healing through that pineal gland. That pineal gland would fire enormous voltage. It would produce all these messenger chemicals, neurochemicals. It would create a supernatural amount of energy. And that energy, those signals, those materials manufactured by your body, by your will to get better, would go all over to the affected areas and start healing. Now, we can't do that today. This is what I've come to realize. We cannot heal in this amazing level, at this amazing level today, because we are facing too many challenges. Our poor body is just broken down from chemicals, from radiation, from stress. It could be psychological stress. It could be, too much stimulation, noise. I can't handle too much noise. And we are subjected to too much activity, too much stimulus, and too much damaging input.
And I might add that is all by design.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, what Dispenza teaches, you can watch his YouTubes, he teaches how to redesign your, let's say, your body, your brain. He calls it rewiring your brain. I think that's a little too technical. I call it designing a new outcome for yourself. And it's fascinating. And I've been practicing this myself for the last month with amazing results. Health results, physical results, non-physical results in terms of relationships with people, events that happen around you. But I would suggest that we all start looking at ourselves differently. We are not creatures of reaction and response. We are creative, only we have been destroyed by the world of commerce and contracts, all these obligations, all these fears, being curtailed and restricted since we're little children and told to listen and obey. And what we're doing now, Joe, is we're listening and obeying the doctors. And they're telling us there's no recovery for you. You can't heal yourself. You have to take our $28,000 chemotherapy agent after we took the material out of your food that would heal you.
Well, it's a problem, reaction, solution. And, I have to tell you, Sophia, I've been amazed at, I've suffered some really dangerous, life-threatening injuries. Many years ago, I was working with a chain link fence, and I was actually putting some up and, putting the wire hooks on it on the poles that run parallel to the ground. And I punctured my arm very deeply with one of those wires sticking out of the top of these chain link fences. And my arm started shooting blood like a water pistol, right? And in a normal circumstance or situation, people would have run to the hospital and, freaked out, went in there, and they would have given them a freaking tetanus shot and x-rays and all this nonsense and antibiotics. I had put cayenne pepper, which is a coagulant, and honey, which I made a poultice out of this stuff, packed it on there, and slapped a big slab of aloe vera, and I duct taped the thing and stopped the bleeding. And, the long and short of it is something that should have required what they call, quote unquote, medical attention. I handled myself, and my body closed that wound up. It healed it. It covered it. It closed off it must have been an artery or something, because it was shooting like a water pistol. Freaked me out. But knowing what I know about first aid and about things like cayenne pepper and how it's a coagulant, honey and cayenne pepper, great thing to put on an open wound to stop bleeding and heal. And aloe vera, of course, delivering iodine through all 7 layers of your skin, and it's an antiseptic and an integral part of your body's metabolic regularity functions. My body was miraculous. It healed. I've had a 500-pound wheelbarrow full of rocks fall on my knee, and I had a contusion on me, and about the size of a golf ball sticking out of my shin with a big old indentation. I laid on my back and applied pressure for probably 30 to 40 minutes and smashed it back down. Instead of putting ice on it and getting stitches, I did the same thing. Iodine in the wound, cleansed it, aloe vera, slapped it on there, duct taped it, left it for a couple days. And, you take a leaf aloe vera, cut it in half, fillet the thing, slap it on like a big Band-Aid, and tighten it up. But your body is amazing. And this is in spite of the crest that they put in my toothbrush and all the garbage they've been putting into water and everything this year. So, Sophia, I can only imagine what it was like before we were under these electromagnetic and chemical assaults.
Right. And their basic tenets and philosophies that they operate on in the medical world. For instance, cholesterol. We're told that cholesterol clogs our arteries and gives us heart attacks. Well, guess what? I was just reading Dr. Seneff's book, Stephanie Seneff's book called Erica and Cindy's Obsession. It's sort of like a novelized version of her own research, How She Woke Up. Very interesting book. I wrote a double-issue newsletter on it. And I learned from that book that cholesterol in the arteries is actually a way for the body to supply cholesterol to the heart, because the heart is short. The hero of Dr. Seneff's book is cholesterol sulfate, and that is a material made by skin cells and red blood cells, and it is what gives skin its antibacterial quality. And then cholesterol sulfate on the surface of red blood cells holds them together so that the hemoglobin and the oxygen don't spill out from inside the blood cell. And what the cell phone radiation is doing, it's making the cell membranes very weak. Glyphosate does that as well.
And it makes the blood really sticky, and they stack, the platelets stack irregularly, and it's just... and then they give us cholesterol pills and sunglasses, and we get the chlorine and the halide compounds oxidizing.
Statin pills.
It's just. I mean, it's everything that is good, Sophia, is literally under attack by the medical system and the scientific community. It's a total inversion. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's very interesting that they are trying to give statin drugs. They want to put it in the water supply, but the fact is that the heart needs cholesterol. Every part of the body needs cholesterol, and these plaques that are found in the arteries are the way that the poor body has figured out how to supply the heart with its own private stash of cholesterol sulfate. So when there isn't enough cholesterol sulfate on the blood cells fall apart. And that's when we have the sticky blood. That's when we have the limited blood flow. That's when we have the risk of stroke and heart attack. So what our body is doing is it's coming up with its own way of making a material that we are not allowed to make, because they give us false news about the sun, and they make us wear sunscreens, and there's a ton of aluminum in those sunscreens also, and all of that threatens the barriers. For instance, the blood-brain barrier is threatened, and you get aluminum in your brain. So this, I know I'm kind of rambling right now.
Sophie, I want to stop you real quick, because I have to inject something when it talks about sunscreen.
Yeah.
To my audience who's ever seen the Hunger Games, and the girl that's the hero in the movie, she has this bow and arrow, and she literally shoots these flaming arrows at things and blows them up, right? My daughter has made an incredible set of weapons that I am very proud of. Literally, she has made things that are very, very serious in terms of self-defense weapons. One of them is a bow and an arrow. And she has devised a way to make flaming arrows that fly through the air and stay on fire. And you will never guess what she uses to keep as a fuel that she lights on fire when she shoots this arrow. She uses sunscreen. It is so flammable, and it is the metallic nano compound these sunscreens with all the petrochemical derivatives that are the colloidal suspension of these things that make for the perfect a flaming arrow fuel. So that's why they use these metallic nano compounds in firework displays. So if you're crazy enough to put this stuff on your skin, it's bad enough you're blocking the life-giving sun, but if you're crazy enough to put these toxic metallic nano compounds in a petroleum base on your skin, then Well, I don't know what else to say, but go ahead, Sophia. I just had to mention that.
Joe, that is a fascinating story. What's the sunscreen form? Is it like mushy stuff from
the spray on? You just get a can of this spray.
It's alcohol based. Yeah, it's the
It's
spray
awful.
sunscreen.
It's just awful. It's highly flammable, and it doesn't extinguish because these are flammable metals. You know, uh, these metallic nano compounds, and this is part of the stuff they're spraying to catch the forests on fire and stuff. So, but anyway, I don't digress. Let's stay on this while we have a few more minutes here.
Yes. Well, overall, the fact is that were we living in the right conditions, we too could have spontaneous remission, super healing, anytime we wanted it, practically. I mean, I can't vouch for any theoretical results, but we don't have that right now, and we have too many assaults, so we have to start navigating our way through those assaults. But Joe, I wanted to mention this, that Dispenza says over and over that it's very difficult to influence matter with matter. So let's say you have a huge problem and you want to solve it on the third dimensional level, Newtonian physics. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be time consuming, especially if your adversaries are better equipped than you are, right?
Absolutely.
So the way to address these problems is from another dimension. You have to go into what he calls the quantum field. You have to create a solution that is not matter-based. Because you could spend, let's say you want to get a new job. Well, you're going to have to sit down, look at the job search material out there, rewrite your resume, go on interviews, talk to people, hope you get referrals and recommendations and leads, and it's going to take a while. But theoretically, and I've been experimenting with this kind of thing myself, and I want to teach people how to do this. This is the best way to solve the problems of our day. Go into the quantum field. Create a path in the quantum field, and then come back into 3D and enjoy the fact that you created something in another dimension just because you could, and then see what happens. Now, your job search might go very, very differently. Boom, you run into somebody who talks to you about something, and suddenly there's your opportunity. And it didn't involve newspapers, resumes, Craigslist, none of that. I believe this can be applied anywhere we want, but we have to spend our time dissolving our preconceived ideas of how we're stuck with a physical condition. You know, every single time you revisit something from the past, and all that you are, Joe, is what's happened in your past up to today. But the future, Joe, doesn't exist yet. So if you want to create something different for the future Joe, you have to do it outside of the third dimension, which is inscribed with your memories, and your memories are they are neurological networks. They're neuronets you drag around. And every time, as Dispenza says, you wake up in the morning, you're really pulling neural nets from yesterday and the day before into your day, and you're going, oh my God, I got to get up. I got to take a shower. I've got to drink some coffee. I've got to get in my car. What do I have to do today? But your inspiration doesn't come from all that stuff. Your inspiration comes from what you can create, and you can do it in your imagination. So I'm asking your audience to start with pragmatics if you want. Take iodine. Take this material Restore that I sell on my website, because that will give you the 3D leg up that you need. And then when you're free from the oppression of what you're feeling physically and mentally every day, when you're a little bit loosened up by these additions to your life, then you start really experimenting.
You know, Sophia, it's amazing. The people that look at us as human cattle and human chattel, they certainly map out the future with complete precision. Put it in the movies, put it in the music videos, put it out in plays and in cryptic messages. uh, according to their Kabbalistic requirement for absolution, they've got to give us advance notice and get our permission to do these things. But yet they map out the future decades and decades, and in some cases centuries in advance. And yet we don't map out our future any more than, oh boy, when am I going on vacation next, or what's for lunch? And so you're right. We've got to get off all of these things that are literally destroying our pineal gland and our consciousness. We've been, I'll never forget that song. 2020, 24 hours ago, I want to be sedated. I think that was the Ramones that sang that song. But they've done it to us. They had us singing along with being sedated, and now they've effectually sedated us with the fluoride and the halide compounds and the glyphosate and blocking the succinate pathway and desiccating our brains and our bodies and our food and all of these microwave onslaughts with the Wi-Fi and the 5G and the lighting and the LED weaponry. I mean, folks, we got to clean it up. One of the most important things you can do for your health, I have to say, and directly on topic here, is iodine supplementation. Tell the audience about how important iodine is, Sophia. It's really crucial.
Joe, it's very important because it promotes the internal signal in the cell from the mitochondria called apoptosis. It's needed by every cell in your body, and it's very inexpensive. So my website, avatarproducts.com, there's 3 forms of iodine there. Avatar, AVATAR, products.com. And they fit anybody's budget. And seriously, I also want to mention the product Restore. I heard another interview with Zach Bush. It's on my blog, probably the 2019 link. But they look at cancer cells under a microscope, Joe. And when they put Restore, which is a terahydrite, it's a lignite extract from ancient soil, which they get from the desert.
Way down under the ground, soil. Ancient soil
and they put the Restore on the cells, on the cancer cells, and within a few minutes under the microscope, they see that Restore is signaling to the mitochondria electrically, and the mitochondria tips the cell into submission, into cell suicide. So Restore, when it's put on a living cell that's dangerous, does the opposite. It tips that cell toward healing, toward upgrading its mechanisms to heal. So here you have an inorganic substance that comes from ancient soil, right, that manages to create the proper redox signaling to the mitochondria of your cells and tips the cells one way or the other as needed. That is amazing.
Well, and that is something that literally people were walking barefoot, breathing dust, breathing ashes, hunting and gathering and picking berries and fruit. And they were getting it in their diet before they coated before they coated all the agricultural lands with industrial waste and radioactive waste. And they've come up with all these petrochemical poisons and pesticides and pharmacological agents. So, it's like in my backyard, I've got this little area where I have like a little sit down area, and I've got a string of lights and a little radio out there, and it's dark, and I go out there, and all of a sudden I literally put my hand on a switch, and it just lights up. Everything just turns on, right? Well, that's kind of like what goes on in our cells that have been so damaged, and they've been starved of things that they need. And when you put the missing link or you complete the circuit, everything just fires up. So, there's a lot of things we can do. I guess that's an oversimplification. But the minerals and the crystals and the electrons connected to the earth, from the earth, earthing, grounding, things in your diet, and external forces that have been weaponized and aimed at us to subvert proper mitochondrial function, like Wi-Fi, like glyphosate, like the halide compounds. It's funny, we get iodine from the air. That's why they'll say, hey, you should probably take some potassium iodate when there's a nuclear detonation, because, you flood your thyroid with iodine because it gets it from the air, right? It's so important that we get it from the air. And what do? They give us a ton of stuff that interferes with its absorption and uptake in our thyroid. They give us fluoride and bromine And, I mean, if you've got fireproof clothing, if you've got flame retardant clothing, if you've got Scotch Guard on your couch, if you've got a jacuzzi, you've got lots of bromine in your body. If you've got a shower and you don't have a filter, you have got lots of chlorine and chloramine in your body. If you've got some of these Procter and Gamble beverages, they have brominated vegetable oil in them. If you're consuming flour, you've got brominated flour. Folks, they are attacking us. So we
right,
cannot.
And when you take iodine, it sits on your cell receptors, and all that brominated material has nowhere to go.
So we got to get iodine into the. And let me tell you something, folks. Iodine is dirt cheap. It is the cheapest insurance you can buy for your health, and you got my word on that. What does it cost for like a month's supply of iodine, Sophia?
A month?
Yeah.
Talk 8 months.
How much?
8 months supply, $20.
$20. Folks, we're not selling snake oil here. We're trying to get you back to where you can wake up and we can all collectively make a difference. We're no good, sick and dying and stupid, okay? And so anyway.
And that's nascent iodine. The Lugol's iodine is cheaper even. Joe, I wanted to also mention this, that I have now got on my website. It's on the front page. Again, I'll repeat, avatarproducts.com. LED bulbs that will not blind you. They are full spectrum. They are dimmable. They don't flicker. They don't hum. They're 85% cheaper to run than incandescents. But the most important thing is they are good for your eyes. And this is the creation of a one that I have an association with. So the light bulbs are up there, and you can buy them in the super bright daylight mode, which is 4,000 Kelvin, or you can get them a little warmer and yellower, which is 2,700 Kelvin.
Interesting.
And
Sophia, I am not a fan of any LED lights whatsoever, but if you got something good, I guess we'll have to have a look at it. Anyway,
we have specially created, Joe, to counter all the bad things that LEDs do for you.
Well, I will definitely look into that. My position to my audience is that incandescents are the only way to go. But if you got something new, then hey, well, what the heck, right? So anyway, Sophia,
85% more efficient than incandescents. This is a whole different kind of technology.
Interesting.
Okay.
All right, now another thing, Sophia, you and I have discussed at length about the dirty electricity in people's homes, and I wanted to know if you have something that you could help people with as far as that goes, because that's a really, really important subject. Do you have just a minute or two to really briefly touch on that?
Well, a lot of people, Joe, use the plug-in Stetzer filters and Greenway filters, but from this company that I am dealing with now, I have learned that you don't want to install more than 3 or 4 of those in any house. They're fine for a little studio apartment, a couple of them, but you don't want to put 16 or a dozen or 30 Stetzer or Greenway filters in your house. You want to get a bigger unit that wires into your breaker box, that has the capacity to clean the energy as it comes in from the power company. And then you treat local areas with the little filters if necessary. But that product, unfortunately, is more expensive than most people want to pay. So that same company, and you can contact me, it takes a little bit of understanding to remediate a house of dirty electricity. And it's not something you just go and buy 20 filters for and stick them in all the different rooms. So I believe that if anyone wants to learn more about this, the best way is to start with my starter kit, which I sell privately, and you're welcome to contact me at the Avatar Products website, and I will get you started. But dirty electricity, all electricity is kind of complicated, Joe. It's not that simple. And we create it, the more we load our circuits, the more devices we put on, the more dimmers, they're called rheostats in electrical language, the more you have, switch mode power supply from your smart meter, solar inverters. Our lives are getting much more electrified.
And polluted.
Yes, and that's creating a load, many loads on our lines that are not favorable. Now, I want to see if I can do an experiment. This is very interesting. Let's see if I can do it, all right? It works at some times of day, and at other times it doesn't. But let's just see. It'll shock you if I can do it. Hold on. Just starting
and
here.
Sophia, while you're doing that, I want to tell a little story. I had went up to Big Bear.
Here we go. Okay, Joe, did you hear that?
Yeah, it sounds like you're picking up a radio station.
I have a dirty electricity meter, an EMI, electromagnetic interference meter. I plug it into the wall, into my outlet. This is my outlet right by my bed.
Sounds like you're picking up KFI.
I get AM radio right off the copper wires of my house. They are like an antenna. This is how much radio frequencies have affected our lives. But I can clean that up. I can clean that up in my house. I can put a filter in the wall. Get this, I'll do it again. Here we go. There it is with the filter, pulling the filter out.
Blocking it.
Filter.
Now, folks, what we're talking about here, we're talking about a radio station that's over in Buena Park. Sophia's way down, where are you at, like Solana Beach or something, San Diego? You're probably 90 miles from this transmitter. And it's, I know people whose Rangers are picking it up, and it runs it through the copper telephone lines, and they're getting it on their telephones 50 miles away. So they're nailing us from all directions: radio, television, broadcast, Wi-Fi, cell towers. You've got to get your health back, and you've got to start minimizing the effects of these intentional onslaughts. And the very, very basic things you could do, go barefoot, take iodine, go in the sunlight, don't wear sunglasses, fresh air, clean water, clean food, herbs, raw vegetables, organic food, on and on it goes. But I was going to say, I was up in Big Bear, and I had one of those portable electric heaters, and I plugged this thing in, and the fan would go on and off and stop and start, and all different ups and downs and ups and downs. And at home, the fan just goes, in Big Bear, it was going bang, the dirty electricity up in the mountains was so horrible. So I know what you're talking about, Sophia. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and as I mentioned and you mentioned, we are bioelectrical. We function. Our biology
Everything is voltage.
Signals.
It's all electrical signals, and light signals, and voltage gated calcium channels, and I mean, on it goes. Sophia, I've got to cut this broadcast because we've gone in way over the time here. We're going to have you back on real soon. Can you plug your websites one more time for the audience, please?
Yeah, my blog where you'll see the wonderful Dispenza and Zach Bush material is SofiaSmallstorm.com. And if you don't see a lot of material, it's because it's 2020. So go to the previous year's links, 2019, 2018. My store, avatarproducts.com. Try the light bulbs, try the iodine, try the magnesium. That's a wonderful product. And try the Restore, because restores the redox signaling. That's the electrical signaling between your cells. And it's fantastic. So, Joe, I will send you another couple of bottles of that as a thank you for this show. But I really hope that everybody will learn how to re-navigate what's in front of us now.
Well, we got to have you back on. We got to go do a couple shows in series because people need to understand that, you take a few drops of iodine and that's some miracle cure. Folks, you got to understand something. It's like peeling an onion. We've got to get the layers and layers of calcification and interference fields off of our body, off of our minds, off of our consciousness. Most people are zombies, and the bar is so low that feeling like crap is the norm, and that's why they need 3 cups of coffee and an Excedrin every day, because they just don't know what's wrong, but they don't know what's right either, folks. I'm telling you, I've been taking iodine for years, and look, I'm not Jack LaLanne, but I got the endurance of 10 oxes, folks. You know, I mean, I feel good. I have a lot of energy. I take the Restore product. I'm out in the sun. I'm out in the fresh air. I'm going barefoot as much as I can when I have the time. I spend minimal amount of time indoors when I'm free and not working, folks. You've got to get back to nature. You've got to get back to reality. You've got to get out from being a victim of these blue light alien abduction systems called black scrying mirror, satanic electronic, psychotronic, television, Ouija boards called smart TVs that are turning you into an idiot. You've got to get out of your house and you've got to get out of these places that they've created for you to kill yourself in with all these electromagnetic weaponry devices that you think are toys. All right. Anyway, Sophia, let me cut this broadcast. I want to keep you on the line for just a minute. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Imbriano, P.O. Box 4121, Fullerton, California, 92834. Joe Imbriano 777 at gmail.com. On the web at WiFiDangers.com, thefullertoninformer.com, VaxDangers.com, 5GDangers.com, NASAFraud.com, Disney666.com, CellTowerDangers.com. And once again, folks, signing off in the name of Jesus Christ. We go to fight the good fight. Take care and God bless everybody.